The Democratic Alliance Youth has a new leader. Nicholas Nyati was elected over the weekend, and he joins us now on the line from Gqeberha. Nicholas, good evening. Thanks very much for your time.
Good evening, Vuyo, to you and your viewers at home.
Tell us how was this process done? And I understand you are an interim leader, and why interim?
Thanks, Vuyo. Understanding the constitution of the Democratic Alliance Youth, a new leader is elected after every 3 years or through a Congress process. Now, our former leader, Mr. Honorable Luyolo Mpiti, has unfortunately reached the age of 31. So he no longer qualifies for the DA Youth. We had to go into a special Congress, which will elect an interim structure just to take us to the normal Congress, which will be next year with the mother body Congress.
Why wouldn't you just have bring the Congress forward?
Because we want to align it with the different auxiliaries of the party. Remember, the DA is going into its Congress, Dawn is going into its Congress. So we want to have all of our structures having a Congress at the same time, so that the leadership that serves at FedEx can all have the same term in office and start on the same term.
And so who then elected you? Who had to oversee that process?
It was a normal voting Congress. So it was delegates that elected me. Delegates are taken from the membership across the country. The only province that did not vote was Limpopo, because it was still under administration. But I was elected by delegates from across South Africa, young people from across South Africa.
Did they tell you why they chose you?
I think young people listened to the vision that I offered, and they align themselves with that vision because they see hope and they think that their dreams can be realized through this vision that I presented for the interim structure.
Take us through that vision.
I had a 5-point plan. I said, we are tired of poetry. We want pragmatic solutions to the challenges that we face. Young people have been crying for a voice, and I promised them that I'll be that voice. They believed me because they've seen me walk the talk. And my 5 steps, the first one is the fact that I'm just going to stand for the interim structure, because I believe that if we want to make the youth work, we need a leader who's going to lead by example. How do you do that? By opening opportunities for others. So the first promise was that I'll just stand for the interim. I won't stand in the next Congress. The second one is to restructure our branches and rebuild branches across the country. This is important because if you want to build a home for South Africans, all South Africans, you need to have strong branches, you'll have strong constituencies, and you'll have strong provinces that will be able to attract not only Nicholas, but Nicholas, Michaela, Peter, Michael, and build a home for all young South Africans. Then we can work together and address the challenges that young people in this country are facing.
What do you mean when you say young people are tired of poetry? Who's giving them poetry?
All politicians are giving young people poetry, especially the governing party. If you listen to the budget speech, if you listen to any presidential address, it's all about, we will create this, we will do this, we will build a South Africa for what, prosperous South Africa, but nothing is happening. 9.2 million young people are unemployed. What we want is plans. Tell us that I am going to ensure that there's permanent electricity supply. How am I going to do this? Number one, by opening independent power supplies, allowing people to provide electricity. 2, I'm going to ensure that there's permanent supply of water. What are the steps to do that? So the DA Youth wants to be that voice that speaks about practical solutions to the practical challenges that we face on a daily basis.
When you say all politicians give young people poetry, does that exclude the Democratic Alliance politicians?
All reports, all audit reports speak for themselves. If you look where the DA governs, we're the only party that actually gets things done. Lowest unemployment rate in the country, it's Western Cape. A young person has got better chances of, number one, getting better education, number two, actually getting a job when they stay in the Western Cape compared to when they stay anywhere else in the country. Wherever the DA governs, wherever, you have a greater chance of opportunities. If you look across the country in terms of housing, in terms of electricity, in terms of water, wherever the DA governs, we're the only party that can actually supply this to South Africans. So when I speak about politicians who fail, they know who they are. And as the DA youth, we're going to take the fight to them and ensure that we remove them in 2024 and remove them from all municipalities in 2026.
So all politicians except those from the DA give us poetry and nothing else.
All politicians except for those that get things done.
Does that exclude the Democratic Alliance politicians? Does that include? It excludes
them. It excludes them because we get things done, portfolio. I mean, wherever you look, the only hope for South Africa is the Western Cape. We always hear when we're praying in Brighton Square, people say, hey, and that's because the DA, where they govern, they get things done. So I think in terms of pragmatism, you can see that the DA actually gets their foot on the ground and actually do some work.
And you think the youth of Nyanga, Khayelitsha, Guguletu, they will agree with you?
I was in Gunya constituency. It caters with Ilanga. I was in Stellenbosch, where my deputy, where the chairperson of the DA stays, Wendipiwe Olai. I was there not a long time ago, 2 days ago. I was in Cape Town. The youth there are saying that, Nick, the DA youth is our only hope. Because here we are voting for the DA. And where Mama might have voted for another party. But Tina, as young people, we know that the DA is the only hope. These are people not just from Inyanga, Kwalanga, Khayelitsha. It's actually people who left West situations in the Eastern Cape and went to look for opportunities. Within a short period of time, they were able to at least get something. I'm not saying the Western Cape is perfect, but I'm saying in South Africa, in the context of South Africa, the only party that can take us out of this mess is the DA. And for the DA to do that, we need a strong DA youth that is going to be a home for all young South Africans. Young South Africans that are going to vote going into 2024, going into 2026, and remove the kleptocratic government of the day.
What is your understanding of why people like Herman Mashaba, people like Musi Maimane, Lindiwe, have left the DA? What is your understanding of why they could no longer identify with this party?
Politics in its nature is a contested terrain. It's a battle of ideas. It's a battle of approaches. And in a liberal party, that is times 100, because liberalism is all about different opinions and different ideas. Whenever I answer a person who asks me this question, I always say, the most important thing is to know your why. Why did I join the DA? Why did I join politics? And if you know that why, you will be able to withstand whatever debates or whatever challenges might arise. Now, to speak about Helen or your Herman or any other leader, I think it's only fair that we bring them and then they speak. But for me, honestly speaking, it will depend on their why. Why did they join politics? If you join politics because you wanted to change people's lives and you are thinking you are going to do it outside the DA, I don't know what you are basing your research on, because if you look at the context of South Africa, the DA is the only party. This is not me. It's there. It's research. It's facts that actually can save us from this mess. It's based on stats. It's based on unemployment states and the opportunities that we give people where we govern. So it's your why, Putbuyo. And I only think it's fair that we ask them. I'm still here.
No, I was asking for your opinion, what you think, are the reasons they left the party. These were some of, I mean, your Lindiwe Mazibukos, your Mbalintulis were some of the, most brilliant black leaders the Democratic Alliance has had. And as they themselves have said, it wasn't easy for them to just leave, something they believed in so strongly, but they felt they had to. So do you not think they had reasons? They had a case. You may disagree with them, but do you not think that the reasons they've put out there are valid?
The most brilliant leaders put forward are our activists who are on the ground each and every day getting us votes. Remember, it is not Nicholas who's a councillor, it is not John who's an MP, but it is the people who go door to door, house to house, and listen to the cries of South Africans that are the brilliant leaders, in my view. That's the first point. The second point, honestly speaking, I said it is your why. I can only have an opinion after I understand their why. When you look at me, when I joined politics because of the challenges that I saw in an institution of higher learning. And I said, I want to be part of addressing the challenges. I never thought it was going to be easy. It was difficult. But each and every day, when I think about giving up, there was a time in 2016 when I was physically assaulted. It was all over the media. I had an opportunity to say, it's difficult, I should quit, but I didn't because my why kept me going. So I can only comment on this issue if I understand their why. And I don't think, for me, this is a major issue. People come and go. That's the nature of politics. It's a contested terrain. People come from all races, and I also don't like this narrative that it's black leaders. The DA is a party for all people. We have white people, we have colored people, we have black people. I don't hear anyone speaking about white people that leave, but we want to drive this narrative as if there's a black exodus. Nicholas is still here, still passionate about this party, and we're still passionate about building a South Africa for all.
Do you not think that they felt as assaulted as you once were, but perhaps emotionally? So in other words, they couldn't take the emotional abuse that they were getting from some of your leaders. What I'm trying to understand here is whether you are prepared to concede that your party is not a perfect party as you are making it to appear to be, that it has its own challenges that people like you or the next generation of leaders need to confront. To pretend that it's all hunky-dory, is not helpful. And that's really the point I'm trying to make here.
I think this is the poetry I was speaking about. When you go to a person, the only thing that they ask you is that, when will my house be built? When will my child get a job? When will I have electricity? Those are practical challenges that our people face. I'm not here to say the DA is a perfect party. I don't think there is a perfect party in the world. But I am saying the DA is the best party in South Africa, and no one can debate that. The DA is best when it comes to governance. No one can debate that. Why do people even vote? People vote because they want a party that is going to address their challenges. And the DA is the only party that can do that. But no one can dispute that. So now we have to speak about this poetic thing that Nicholas is black and he has left. No. I don't want to enter that debate. I'm saying let us do with pragmatic solutions to the pragmatic challenges that we face. If a person can come to me and say the DA does not deliver on its promises, then we can speak and say, no, maybe the DA is facing. In terms of people coming and going, I don't want to enter that debate. It's not my politics. My politics are about changing the lives of the people on the ground.
But do you not believe or think that the DA does have issues or problems that it still needs to confront to be able to deliver on the promise?
The biggest issue that we are going to confront, especially going into this month, is the fact that 9.2 million young people are unemployed. That's the only issue on my mind now. How do I restructure the DA youth to attract young South Africans, and how do we remove this government that is causing all these issues for us?
And how are you going to do that?
The first is by restructuring the branches. How do I create the DA as a home for young South Africans. I'm going to go back to the branches, empower branch leadership, to be able to empower constituency leadership. And secondly, is to use people like yourself, Budbuya, by attending these interviews and diminishing this narrative that the DA is a party for a certain type or certain kind of people, and actually prove that the DA is a party for all South Africans. Because I understand in politics, perception is important. And I will take what you said, I will write it on my notes and say, how do we change Budbuya from thinking what he is thinking, which is incorrect, to actually see us for who we really are, a party for all young South Africans?
Why do you think that narrative continues, though?
Again, Budbuya, that's if I knew, I would be very reject. It's something that we maybe as a party need to do more in marketing ourselves. But I will be going across the country to speak to young people, because my leadership style has always been a consultative leadership. I'm going to go to the ground, go door to door across the country, and actually listen to people to say, why do people have this misconception about the DA? Is it the media? Is it because we spent about 8 minutes debating Lindiwe and race? So how do we change that so that we can take it out of people's mind, and actually people must see the good work that we do, which is changing people's lives? So we need to find a way that the work that we do in the Western Cape can be reflected throughout the country. And we will do that by working together with people like yourself, Budbuya. I hope I can be a regular here so that we change this narrative, and hopefully all of us vote for the DA, including yourself, Mkhulu.
But you don't think also you need to change the attitudes of some of your leaders? Because comments that people like Helen Zille often make, for example, aren't helpful to your image.
We're a liberal organization, Budbuya. We're always going to have different opinions. I think that's what makes us special.
Yeah,
I don't believe.
But being liberal doesn't mean you have to assault and insult black people, for example. You know, and you know, by insisting that their lives are better when they are not. In other words, better under the DA, when in reality that's not the case.
But I was there. I spoke to people. So it's, you know, there was a time I was SRC president. I was SRC president. People said, no, the DA is selling out for wanting to open universities. No? When they said this, it hurt me, because the people who were actually calling for the opening of universities were, at most times, black students who, number one, were doing their final year. They are the last hope of their families. They have NSFAS that they might lose if this fees must fall continues. We called for the opening of universities. And people, especially the media, called us sellouts because we don't understand the plight of students. Not understanding that there were those who were scared to speak, because they knew that if you speak the truth, Abantu will crucify you. I'm not going to defend Helen. I don't think that's my job. She's a seasoned politician. She can defend herself. But personally, as a black person in the DA, I have never been assaulted by Helen. I have never been insulted by her. I'm not going to come here and say, no, Helen is insulting me. Well, that's not what our job is. Our job as politicians is to change the lives of individuals. So if to me you would have came to me and said, when Helen was a premier, she failed, then I would concede. But all of us, both of us here, South Africans watching, can agree that Helen was the best mayor in Cape Town. Helen was the best premier in the Western Cape. But now we must find loopholes there and there because she assaulted black people. If you are saying, argument's sake, what Nicholas is saying is wrong, take me to the Human Rights Commission. Take me there. If I am found guilty, then the party can act on me. I mean, people say, hey, I was reading Twitter comments, people are calling me Zimbabwean. Am I going to say, no, South Africans are insultive, Zulus are insultive, this one is insultive, just because they are calling me Zimbabwean?
Okay, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks very much for your time and best of luck.
Thank you very much. When you're in PE, let's do coffee so that I can see how we work together.